All right, so we're going to talk about dining halls and your meal plans and where you can eat on campus. And as far as eating on campus, there's usually two types of plans that schools will have. One is like a debit program or a debit card program where you'll have, and I went over this a little bit earlier in another section, but just to reiterate for those of you that didn't watch that section yet, there's two plans. There's a debit card program where you'll have a certain amount of money that will be put on the card either each week or each month or for the semester, which you want to really be careful if they do that, and manage it out. But usually it's by week. Your debit plan will get more money put on it. So during those, what will happen during the debit cards is you'll be able to use it and spend it on whatever it is you want to spend it on, whether it's whatever kind of food you want to eat, and usually they have a price for everything, and you just pay with your debit card, and that amount goes back on each week. And so if you're on that kind of plan at your school, if that's what your school does, just be careful with what you pick, and pick healthier choices. Avoid a lot of sugars, a lot of breads, a lot of saturated fats. Again, we're trying to avoid the freshman 15. Watch the amount you're spending on fast food versus actual dining hall food. A lot of times, the debit cards are like, I know at our school at Rutgers, you could use your debit card also at some of the fast food places, and so that were on campus. So you want to be careful, how much you're actually spending on fast food and how much you're spending, in the dining hall where you typically will find some better foods, especially if they're packaged, salads or wraps or that kind of stuff. If there is a healthier place to eat around campus, how much you want to take that into consideration if you're putting money on your debit card. So it's like, do I really need to put this much money on my debit card if there's 5 or 6 places that I can eat that are actually maybe even cheaper or more healthy for me? You want to take that into consideration. Maybe you don't have to put so much money onto your debit card in those cases. And once you're into your junior and senior years, guys, you start learning basic cooking. Just because at those points you'll be into either an apartment style living space where you're gonna just learn how to cook. It saves you money, it's healthier, it's better for you overall as opposed to going out and spending a lot more money on having food prepared. Now, the other style that usually larger schools have are buffet styles, okay, where you go in and they're just you swipe your card, you have a certain number of meals, you either have a 21 meal plan or 18 meal plan or a 15 meal plan or something like that, and you swipe your card and you eat as long as you wish until you leave, and then you come back again later on. And so as if you saw in the other video, when we're talking about money and paying for college, you don't need a 21 meal plan. Most freshmen do that because parents are kind of scared about their kid having food. There's food there, there'll be food, they won't starve. And they're not going to go there 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and so it's not going to happen. So don't waste money on a 21 plan. However, remember when you're in a buffet style type of dining hall, the easiest thing to cook for a dining hall is when you're producing for masses is like pastas and a lot of starches, and so it's just a big you can get a lot of that out there. So they'll have 2 or 3 times a week there'll be some kind of pasta. So just be careful about how much carbs and how much how much sugar, because carbs break down into sugar, that you're eating on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Desserts can also be killers at a dining hall. Okay, and even breakfast can be kind of killer. You wake up in the morning. I remember my favorite thing to do that when I would go to the dining hall was to make the Belgian waffles, right? And I built Belgian waffle, and I lather that up with a ton of syrup and butter, and that was and I'd make like 2 or 3 of those suckers. So be careful with that. But desserts also, because you can go back as many times as you want, and especially if you're studying in a dining hall, which I recommend never studying in a dining hall, okay, because you just have the procrastination to go eat and then you just continue eating. So, but desserts can be totally killers if you're socializing in the dining hall, as far as that goes. So just don't study in dining halls. And be careful about how long you're staying there socializing, and if you're snacking and noshing, the entire time. And I mean, because I've done that personally. I've spent an entire day in a dining hall, okay, because you go there. I went there for breakfast. I was talking, and I wasn't eating the entire time, but I would see some other people before I would leave, and I'd sit down with them, and we talk about this. And I'd see some other people before I leave, and I go sit with them, and then all of a sudden I realized that they changed over to lunch, and I'm like, oh, I'll have some lunch now, and I was talking to these people, you talk to those people, and then it's like, I might as well study for a little bit, take out my book, read a little bit. Miss a class here, miss a class there, like, oh man, I'm late for the class, whatever. I didn't go to the class, and I went to talk to some more people, and then all of a sudden it was dinner time, and my friends came in for dinner, and I'm like, oh, man, I've been here all day, and eating in between in these little conversations. So just be careful of your time. You can get sucked into a dining hall, not just because you're eating the entire time, but also because you're just socializing. There's a lot of other people coming in and out. As far as it goes. So, overall, you don't have to be a health nut and only eat salads and fruits, when you're going to these places, but you just want to be cognizant, you want to be conscious of what you're doing, because again, the objective of this section is to stop you from, gaining the weight that most students do, and so you want to be careful of that. And dining halls are one of the reasons that people do, and so just take this information and just keep it a nugget in the back of your head.